All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Raw Law Unfiltered with your host of the DUI Guy Plus. Today, we are continuing part two of 32, is what it seems it's going to boil down to. I think after yesterday's stream, I have a bit of a better idea as to how this is going to be broken down. And we're basically going to break down each trial day, which there are 16 of them. We're going to break them down into a morning and an afternoon and for each stream. Otherwise, each stream is going to be like 4 or 5, possibly even 6 hours long. And I don't want to make these streams that long. So we're going to break it down a little bit further. We have also learned that the courtroom rules are extremely strict, and there is absolutely no room for a lot of people who potentially could be and wanting to be in that courtroom. Space is limited, but the judge did open up several courtrooms. We also learned that Amber and Johnny had a meeting in a hotel room after she takes out the TRO, and she invites him in to lay down in bed with her, like while she's not feeling well and taking a nap or whatever. This is the same woman that just days prior alleged that she's afraid for her life of this man or whatever. I mean, this is just crazy stuff. We also learned that the rules in the UK when it comes to speculation evidence and hearsay evidence and a lot of the rules of evidence and a lot of rules of procedure that we have here in the United States are very, very relaxed and much, much different than they are here. They are in the UK. So it's so hard to adjust because as I'm reading, I'm trying very, very hard not to comment every 5 seconds like that would never fly in the US, that would never fly in the US, that would never fly in the US. But of course, I don't want to taint the transcript. I want to keep it flowing. I want to keep it moving. So I'm doing my best to turn my lawyer brain off as much as possible. Also, this is completely unrelated to anything except technological stuff. My computer fan, as of yesterday evening, after I streamed, nothing to do with the stream. I think it's just my computer may be dying the death of 1,000 razors. Its fan is like blaring air. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I hope you can't because I hear it loud and clear. It doesn't bother me. I kind of got used to it. But I just want to make sure that it's not like you don't have like a shh sound or anything. So I'm just going to be quiet for a second. Let me know if you hear anything in the chat. I'm just going to take a second here. Tanya says she can't hear anything. Patricia says nothing. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. If you cannot hear the fan, then that's perfect because I don't want it to be distracting. As long as my microphone is on this side, because my microphone is on this side and the fan is on this side, they're not going to interfere. That's perfect. Then I don't care. This is perfect. Okay, so let's dive right in. I don't want to waste any time since we got a lot of ground to cover. We basically just finished the morning of Johnny Depp's UK Day 1 trial in front of Judge Nicol, and we're back in the afternoon. This is like, I guess, 2 p.m. on July 7th, 2020. And Johnny Depp is back on the stand. There was some issue about the 5th and 6th and 7th witness statements submitted by Amber Heard. As you all remember, you may remember. If you don't, if you were not here, let me remind you. They were submitted literally days. Some were submitted days. Some were submitted hours, like midnight before the 8 a.m. trial. Midnight, she submits. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you this. Like, are you kidding me? And most of this stuff is going to be admitted. Most of the stuff the judge is like, as long as he's allowed to kind of, have a chance to review it. And during the lunch break, I imagine they had a chance. Johnny Depp's team had a chance to review it with him. the Amber Heard's witness statement. So we're traveling back in time. Remember, this is the height of COVID. This is when everybody was looking at the numbers. People were dying all over the world from this new virus. This is July of 2020. The virus has been around for about 4 months now. So bear that in mind. And yeah, let's go. So we will resume at 2:05, says Judge Nickel, and they adjourn for a short time. And we resume in the afternoon. Judge Nickel, yes, Ms. Was. Yes, Ms. Was. So she resumes her cross-examination of Johnny Depp. Mr. Depp, can we just recap what we covered this morning? And so at 25, the age of 25, you were charged with assault on a security guard. At 31, you trashed the hotel room because somebody screwed you over. At the age of 35, you hit a photographer with a piece of wood. By the way, there was no mention of anybody hitting anybody with a piece of wood. There was the fact that he brandished it. Or no, yes, he did. He hit him. He said he hit him with on his hand. I apologize. I forgot about that. Okay, so he hit his hand because he was trying to pry the door open. I don't know if you call that like hitting, but whatever. Okay. Now, you hit a photographer with a piece of wood. Now, between 2013 2016, you know that Ms. Heard has made allegations that you assaulted her on a number of occasions. Yes, I'm aware of it. We're going to deal with those in some detail. But before we do, can I just ask you about an incident that occurred after your relationship with Ms. Heard finished, namely one in July 2018? Would you please go to tab 181? And by the way, just for the record, somebody in the comments, I read your comments, which are phenomenal, by the way. Thank you so much for all your commentary, your comments during the live and comments after the live. But I was... somebody was like, you need a female voice for Ms. Was. And I'm like, I don't know if that's going to be more insulting or I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant to just be like, oh, can I just ask you about an incident that occurred after your... Like, I can't do that. First of all, it's going to strain my voice. My vocal cords are not going to be able to take it, number one. And number two, it just doesn't make any sense why I would do that. So I think we're going to keep... I think we're gonna keep just the high, not the high pitch, but like the high energy, the I want to get you, boy. I think that kind of gives Ms. Was justice. So, Ms. Was, if you're watching this, this is the best I'm gonna be able to do. So, yeah, we're not doing the Mickey Mouse. Oh, Ms. Heard finished, namely one in July 2018. Would you go back, please, to tab number 181? No, we're not doing that. We are absolutely not giving her a Mickey Mouse voice. That is not going to work. I can't do a feminine voice. My voice is too masculine. But anyway, there is a way. I mean, yeah, I can get like a voice modulator, but I think that is a little excessive. Let's just roll with the punches. Let's go. All right. Would you please go to tab 181? Yes. 181. Have you got that? Yes, I do. The headline of that article is, quote, Depp punched crew member in drunken tirade, end quote. Yes, there's a picture of you with the image caption, quote, the legal papers claim that Depp reeked of alcohol and took drugs on set. I see that, yes. And the article says, quote, Johnny Depp is being sued for allegedly punching a crew member who tried to wrap up filming on the set of his upcoming film City of Lies. Court documents filed by Greg Rocky Brooks in Los Angeles on Monday claim that the actor, 55, punched him twice in the ribs during a foul-mouthed tirade outside the Los Angeles Berkeley Hotel. The papers also state that the actor reeked of alcohol and took drugs on set. Depp's bodyguards were forced to remove the actor from the set, it is said. As part of the altercation, Mr. Brooks alleged that after Depp had verbally and physically assaulted him, the actor offered him $100,000 to punch him in the face in return. The location manager is seeking unspecified damages from Depp, and on it goes. If there is anything such I'm not reading thereafter, please let me know if you want it read. What I want to ask you, please, Mr. Depp, is this article correct? No. Okay, so were you sued at one stage for allegedly punching a crew member? Mr. Brooks brought a case against me. So he sued you, yes? It is still an ongoing. All right, so he sued you. Yes, I believe he is still suing me. Is he suing you for punching him, amongst other things? Mr. Brooks states that I punched him twice in the ribs. Exactly what it says in the article. Yes. So there is an ongoing court case, and the first line, quote, Mr. Depp is being sued for allegedly punching a crew member who tried to wrap up the film City of Lies. Is that a statement true that you're being sued? Yes, I am being sued by Mr. Brooks. Yes. And did Mr. Brooks, Greg Brooks, file court documents saying that you had punched him twice during a foul-mouthed tirade outside the Los Angeles Berkeley Hotel? That is his claim. Yes. That is what the court documents say. So that sentence is correct. Yes. That is his claim. Yes. Do the paper also state, I imagine that should say, does the paper also state that you reeked of alcohol? Yes, it does state that. And do they also state that you took drugs on set? It does say that. Yes. Did your bodyguards ever remove you from the set? No. No. Which bodyguards were being spoken about that were mentioned? That would have been Sean Bett. So your witness in the case, Sean Bett? Yes, security, and that would have been Jerry Judge, who sadly is no longer with us. He is unfortunately no longer with us, yes. So those two, all right. And those were the two people who coincidentally were with you on the last time that you and Ms. Heard had an altercation. I'm going to put it in as neutral way as I can. On May 21st, 2016, they were with me, yes. They were with you then. Let us go back to the article then. So is your account that there was a punch or there was not a punch? No, there was no physical altercation at all. You had no physical interaction with Rocky Brooks at all. No physical interaction whatsoever. Mr. Brooks had done something on set that, for me, I found very disagreeable and quite unjust. And what was that? Well, he very nastily and very aggressively told one of the extras, I believe she was an extra, it was a little African-American woman, and Mr. Brooks said, get the fuck out of my way, and then just sort of scoffed her away like that. And I approached him and I said, what gives you the right to think that she is less than you? What gives you the right to speak to her in such a disrespectful manner? It does not matter what mood you are in. It does not matter. You do not speak to people like that, anybody like that. So there was a bit of carry on. I'm sorry. There was a bit of a banter. Yes. So just verbal banter. Yes. And as a result of that, you are saying that this crew member is suing you, Johnny Depp, based on absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Yes. But in this another occasion, this is another occasion, is it not, where you have been publicly accused of losing your temper? Yes. Speaking in a foul-mouthed way? Yes. Using violence? Yes. Because you are unable to control your anger? Judge interrupts. Just a minute. Publicly accused of using violence? Ms. Wass responds, losing your temper. I cannot remember the last bit. Do you agree that this is what you are being accused of, Mr. Depp? Yes, that is what I'm being accused of. Yes. Ms. Wass. All right. You see, I asked you, Mr. Depp, earlier this morning when I started whether you considered that you had an anger management problem. Do you still say no? Yes, I do not have an anger management problem. You did mention this morning that you had suffered an unfortunate childhood, an unfortunate upbringing. Yes, I think if I can quote your witness statement, let's see, you can have a look at it if you want, but it might take a while. So let me get another file out. If you agree with what it says in it, quote, I myself was regularly beaten for the most trivial things. Exposure to abuse is something that was very much part of my childhood, end quote. Yes? Yes, ma'am. That is what you said. For the sake of completeness, you make it clear in your witness statement that because of the abuse in your childhood, it turned you against the use of violence of any sort. Is that right? Have I understood that correctly? Yes, it very much turned me against violence, or I would prefer to avoid confrontation. Yeah, I've avoided from the way I was raised. The best way I can explain it is that when I knew I was going to have a baby back in 1998, one of my promises was that I would raise my children in the exact opposite manner that I was raised. Right. That is to say, Vanessa and I, the mother of my children, would never ever raise our voices in front of our children. Our children were never spanked, they were never hit, they were never exposed to violence. They grew up in a very secure, safe, calm, and understanding circumstances. Violence is not something that I go looking for. You spoke earlier of how, on a regular basis, I am involved in these incidents where I was arrested for hitting a security guard. All those things are true. However, there is a point where if a man is attacking you or if a man puts his hands on you in an aggressive manner, the only thing that I know to do is get myself out of that corner. Right. So, can I put it like this, summarizing what you said? You are prepared for violence if it is necessary. If it is necessary, if something has happened that I feel is unjust, if I feel that there had been a grave injustice done, if I feel that I have been physically attacked in some way, and I do specify these are situations with men, grown men, who I believe should have known better than to put their hands on another man. Notice how he's not falling, by the way, for the trap that she's trying to set up for him, which is you're willing to use violence whenever necessary. So clearly, you used violence against Amber. And he's highlighting and specifying men. When men get into these scuffles, men, nothing to do with women. Very, very important. And Johnny made that, he really hammered that point home in this little exchange here. So when you consider it necessary, you are prepared for it. Is that fair? Depending on the circumstances, yes. That is why I say when you consider it necessary. Yes, within reasonably. Okay, like I said, I do not go out and search for it. All right, I'm going to ask you just to see whether you agree with this statement. You regularly smash things up and throw things, including objects which you use as weapons, in particular telephones. Do you agree with that? No, I do not agree with that. Have you ever thrown a telephone at anyone? No, I have never thrown a telephone at anyone. What you said in Rolling Stone magazine in 2018 was, and this was about your late mother, there were irrational beatings. Maybe it is ashtray coming your way. Maybe you are getting clunked with the phone. I do not think there was a way I thought about people, especially women, other than I can fix them. End quote. So you're saying you did not want to be a person harming women, but your mother would throw objects, ashtrays, and a telephone at you. Yes? Anything she could get her hands on. Yes. So there's no significance in the fact that when you were with Kate Moss in 1994, the telephones in the lobby were damaged. That is not a thing that you have, damaging telephones. No, I do not recall damaging any telephones. Okay, I want to ask you, please, to look at a clip which we're going to see that was taped by Miss Heard on her telephone. I think you have already explained that there was a regular thing that the two of you had recording a recording of incidents that would then be looked at afterwards. Do you remember saying that in answer to Mr. Sherborne? Yes, we would record things, and that it was always prefaced with, "I am recording this." And this one was not prefaced with this, but it was recorded. But it was not prefaced that no, you will see. Shall we watch it and then you can tell me what you are? It sounds like an illegal wiretap to me, but please Continue. It is not a wiretap. It is a recording on a mobile telephone, which is not a wiretap. A video is still considered a wiretap. Judge interrupts. Mr. Depp, you are amply represented by counsel. If they consider that there is a reason why I should not look at a piece of evidence, they will raise it with me. You can leave it to them to take those points. Yes, sir, you are correct. Sorry. Perhaps we can play it and you can give me your comments on it. The judge, do you want to give me the reference just for my note, please? Ms. Wass responds, would my lord give me a moment? Yes, of course. It is the F-158 in the media file. Thank you. Okay, pausing there. So they just watched it. Pausing there, just for the avoidance of doubt. This was filmed in, we think, February 2016, just so that you have a date to work from. All right? You think that it is February? Yes, and I will demonstrate why later on. All right? Yes. Have a look. And then the film clip is shown in court. Obviously, you did not know it was being recorded until you saw the camera phone, correct? Correct. Would you agree that you were violent in that clip? I was violent with some cupboards. Yes, and smashing something glass. You can hear it. Clearly, I was not in the best state of mind. No, it looked like you had rather a lot of red wine, considering it was early in the morning, or it was in the morning. Do you agree? Do I agree that I looked like I had a lot of red wine? It looked from the clip that you had consumed quite a lot of red wine. Do you agree with that? I would say that looking at the clip, yes, one would think that I had been drinking quite a lot of red wine. Do you agree that you are behaving as if you were somebody drunk? I do not know that I can define my actions or my movements as inebriated or drunk. I can only say that I was upset. I was very upset. And do you behave in a way that is different when you have had a lot to drink? No. Are you sure about that? I'm very sure. Because I was going to suggest in this case that your conduct would have been very intimidating to anyone present in that room. Do you agree with that? I would say that that could upset someone, yes. And Ms. Heard is a much smaller person than you. I do not mean necessarily in height, but in weight as well, yes? You are considerably bigger than she is, are you not? A bit, yes. Let us have a look at a photograph, my lord. It is 86G. Judge, sorry, which tab are you in? It is tab 86G in the supplementary bundle. I'm just going to get the reference. We're just going to check. Sorry, the bundles have been compiled quite late in the day. Judge, when you are ready, just give me the file number, please. I will do. I will do it as soon as I have it. This came as a supplementary bundle last night. So, Mr. Depp, file 9. Thank you. Tab 86G. Judge, is it that it is the photograph, Judge? Mr. Depp, if you would look towards me, you can see the photograph, says the judge. Yes, sir. 86G, you said? 86G. Terribly sorry. Do not worry. Take your time. It is important that you get the right photograph. Yes. I found it. I'm sorry. Yes. Just confirm that this is a photograph of yourself and Ms. Heard. Yes, ma'am. Would you agree that she is considerably smaller than you? She is smaller than me. Yes. You are a man, obviously. She is a woman. She is less strong as a rule. A woman is less strong than a man. You have a bulkier frame than she has, and you are taller than she is. I can agree to that, yes. You agree to all of that. This photograph really says it all, does it not? Yes? Sure, yes. So, going back to that film clip of the cupboards, you have agreed that it would have been very intimidating for Ms. Heard to see you in that state that you were in. I can understand that. Sure. Yes. You were drunk. I'm going to suggest objection, speculation. For the love of God, I'm sorry. I can't help myself here. The chances are very good that, I'm sorry. What do you say to that? So you were drunk. I'm going to suggest. What do you say to that? I may have been. I do not recall. The chances are very good that I was, if I was upset. We saw you pour sort of A mega pint. A mega pint of red wine, which is not everybody's choice for breakfast, is it? No. So this is where mega pint came from in the first place. It was not our little genius, extraordinaire litigation attorney slash professor, Mr. Rottenborn. It was Johnny. This is the first time in the transcript that we see the word megapint appear in the UK trial, July 7th of 2020. So you know that Rottenborn and Elaine have both gone through these transcripts. That is confirmation right there, because that otherwise they would have never gotten the word megapint, because this was not the attorney's doing. Johnny brought it out himself, the silly goose. Fascinating. So we saw you pour a sort of mega pint, says Johnny. Mega pint of red wine, responds the attorney, which is not everybody's choice for breakfast, is it? No. It seemed that the bottle had been already worked on that morning. Oh my God. How you can't know this? What the I hate this trial. I hate this trial so much. There's like so much speculation going around, and it's like, look, I'm going to speculate that you were intoxicated. You already worked on this bottle. She might as well just start throwing in, like, I'm going to speculate that you were high on shrooms, cocaine, and marijuana, just for good measure. Why not? Oh, sorry, this is just so frustrating. I'm just going to assume that you're high 24/7. Why not? Just call it a day. It seems that the bottle had already been worked on that morning from what you said next. Do you agree? And the judge finally interrupts. Well, one has to be careful. Ms. Was replies back to Johnny. Okay, had you drunk anything from the bottle that morning before pouring that mega glass of wine? In my opinion, since the mega wine, no, we just went from mega pint to mega glass to mega wine. You can't make this stuff up. It's right here. Mega pint, mega glass, mega wine. Anyway, in my opinion, since the mega wine was poured from a magnum, quite a large magnum of wine, it is my belief that was more than likely left over from the night before. Right. Were you under the influence of There it is. I called it. I freaking called it. Were you under the influence of drugs on that occasion? No. Are you sure about that? If I was on any of my medications, then which I take daily that are prescribed, that but I probably had not taken them at that point. It seems quite early. What about cocaine? No. You say that with certainty. Are you certain? Yes, I am pretty certain. Yes. How can you be certain? Because by knowing exactly where the incident took place. And where was that? That was not downtown. That was at I have a house in West Hollywood that is in Sweetser. 80 Sweetser Avenue, 1486 Sweetser. Yes. That was there. And you are saying what? You never took drugs at Sweetser? I'm unsure of the date of this recording. How can you be so quick to answer the question that you had not taken cocaine? Well, because contrary to what is put forth in all of these books, contrary to what it says in these books, that I'm always on cocaine and that I'm always high, that I'm always inebriated, I'm always drunk, I'm always this, I'm always that I have to say is a physical impossibility. And why is that? Well, I have to work for a living. I have to make movies, and you have to be quite on the ball with your work. So at that time, I believe that video was taken quite a while before. Before what? before the end of our relationship. Right. But I'm asking you about whether you had taken cocaine at the time. You have given us, if you will not mind me saying, rather a long explanation, which does not help us as to why you were so certain that you had not had cocaine on that occasion when you are behaving, if you don't mind me saying, like a monster. I am relatively certain that I was not taking cocaine because of the time period in which I believe that was filmed without my knowledge. When do you believe that time period to be? I believe it, that looks to me sometime around the maybe just after the time that I had made a film called The Lone Ranger, where we were filming in New Mexico. And Ms. Hurt, that was 2013, was it not? Yes, yes, I think it was 2013. So you say, looking at that video clip, it was filmed in 2013, and that, well, sometime around there. And that, of course, is the era when Ms. Heard said she first saw the monster. That is to say, your conduct under the influence of alcohol and or drugs. Was it not? Or is that what her account is? Is that her account? Well, you have read it. Come on. Judge interrupts. You're being asked at the moment, Mr. Depp, about Ms. Heard's account. And I think Ms. Watts is simply asking whether you agree that around 2013 was the time that Ms. Heard says that she first saw what she called the monster. Johnny Depp. Yes, sir. I understand. Thank you. The monster, which is something that Ms. Heard became obsessed in a way with using that term. The term came from me, I believe. It was your name for your alter ego, says Ms. Wass. The bad side of your character, the person who used to lose control, who used to smash up hotel rooms, used to assault camera crewmen or paparazzi. That bad boy image is, as it has been described in the newspapers, when you lose control and become violent thug. That is the monster, is it not? No. Okay, then what do you say the monster is? The monster in situations with Miss Heard was when the argument would escalate and I would not placate. I would, if she was yelling at me, let's say, I would yell back, and then it would become a screaming match, and that was the monster. Because if I disagreed with Ms. Heard in any way and I voiced it, then I was the monster. You were the monster. She said I was the monster whenever I answered back in the same way that she was addressing me. So if she was yelling at me and I yelled back, that was what she called the monster. And the monster is something that she unfortunately grabbed onto as a way to define me, and that is not altogether what she says at all. She referred to it. The monster was the person that you became when you lost control, whether it was through anger, jealousy, drugs, whatever, or some combination of those. You became the person, that monster. That's who the monster is, was it not? No. It is somebody I suggest you recognized before you ever had a violent argument with Miss Heard. You called the monster before Miss Heard did. I referred to the monster? Yes, before Ms. Heard. It was your name for that side of your character? I'm afraid you are incorrect in your assumption that it was my definition of my character or some sort of alter ego. The monster can be many things. It could be pain. It could be raising your voice. It could be slamming cabinets and kicking doors. In the video clip where we have seen, would you say you were the monster? I would say it is a very unpleasant video to watch, and I'm certainly not and was not particularly proud of myself or happy with myself at the time. That was not my question. My question was, would you say that was the monster in the video? If Ms. Heard claims that to be the monster, she believes that to be the monster. I do not believe that to be the monster. See, the monster is ephemeral. It is not a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, is what I'm trying to say. So I do not believe I was the monster. No. Okay, let us go to the time when you met Miss Heard. This was in about 2009. Is that right? I think your production company it was around that area. I do not recall the year. Your production company, Nile Infinitum, was making a film version of the Rom Diary. Yes. Another Hunter S. Thompson book that you turned into a film. Yes. It was a very special project for you, was it not? Yes, it was. Because Hunter S. Thompson was a special person for you. Yes, he was. I think after he died and he was cremated, I think you spent £3 million firing his ashes out of a cannon. Yes, I did. As a sign of respect for your judge interrupts, £3 million? Dollars, forgive me. Uh, Johnny, no, you are correct. It was 3 million. It was $5 million. I'm terribly sorry. Judge, I was just curious. It was 5 million. 5 million. It was. Unless it is a very important to this case, I am mindful of the fact that we are going very slowly, Mr. Depp, and I know you want this to be completed as quickly as possible. So I do not think that you will have the story about the cremation of Hunter S. Thompson just now, if that is all right with you. Sure. I thought you were the one who brought it up. The star of the film was, or the female star of the film was, somebody you had the right to choose. Do you agree? I had casting approval. Yes. You had casting approval. That is absolutely right. Presumably, that was fierce competition for the role? Yes, there was. There were a number of ingenuous young actresses. Yes. And out of all those ingenuous, you chose Ms. Heard. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that word correctly, but I'm doing my best. Yes, as the best for the part. Yes. And she was talented as an actress. Well, I had never seen her work at the time that I met her. She had presumably had a screen test. Ms. Heard had auditioned for the director, Chris Robinson, 5 times, I believe, and he was having difficulty choosing between Ms. Heard and 2 other actresses. So I met with them, and then he asked if I would meet with Ms. Heard. And I said I would definitely meet with her. And so the meeting was set up. Yes. She's a very beautiful woman, is she not? She was a very beautiful woman. Yes. She was at the start of her career. I do not know. I am not sure. I had not seen any of her films, but yes, I imagine so. She was 23 years old. Yes, I think so. And you were 46. Sounds about right. Yes. And at that time, you were both involved in relationships with other people. Yes. You had the mother of your 2 children, Vanessa Paradis, who you were in a relationship with. Yes. And Ms. Heard was involved with a partner, an artist called Tasia Van Ree. Yes. During the filming of the Rum Diary, did some publicity come out about an argument that had taken place between Ms. Heard and Tasia Van Ree, at which Ms. Heard was arrested? You seem puzzled that such an event took place. I do not recall she was arrested while we were doing the Rum Diary. Do you remember learning about the incident at around the time it happened? I'm not sure if we're talking about the same thing. There's only one incident, Mr. Depp, is there not, where she had been arrested for domestic violence? Yes, okay. You say okay. This is something that you have made huge capital of in the publicity surrounding this trial. At one stage, you were suggesting that there was more than one occasion when Ms. Heard was arrested for domestic violence, but that is not the case, is it? I know she was arrested for domestic violence in Seattle or Washington State. You know exactly when it happened because you had used it. That was quite a while before the Rum Diary, if you don't mind my saying so. It was 2009. I thought the Rum Diary was 2009. I do not know exactly when I met Ms. Heard. I know that the Rum Diary was. I would need dates. I'm sorry. I would need dates to be able to. All right. The position is that Ms. Heard was arrested in 2009 after an argument between herself and her girlfriend at Seattle Airport. You actually remembered the airport. Yes, I know this account, the account of this. In fact, it is quite clear, is it not, that despite being arrested, charges were never brought. Yes, charges were never brought. Indeed, Tasia Van Ree has made a particular point. Is that a question? That is, Judge interrupts. I think the only question can be whether you know that is the case. Do you have any knowledge as to whether she was involved in domestic violence with Tasia Van Ree? As far as I have read from, as I was not there, as far as I have read, she was arrested and taken into custody. Back to Ms. Was. Yes, put in jail. Like you were, really? Yes, only mine was a few more times than Ms. Heard. Yes, yes. Could you go to tab 85 of file 8, please? It should be in an email. Judge interrupts. Let me get there, please. 85, you say? 85, yes. I think it should be page 143. I think it's uh, I-44. I don't know. I-43, 144. But it looks like I-44 at the top. Yes. That is an email from Ms. Heard's email address to her assistant's address. Do you agree? That is her publicist, Jody Gottlieb. Thank you. It was on the, I'm going to say, the 8th of June because the dates are in the American order. But I'm prepared to accept I may be wrong here. It's either the 6th of August or 8th of June. Do you understand? Yes, I do. It has been forwarded from Tasia Van Ree, an email from Tasia Van Ree to Ms. Heard stating this, quote, in 2009, Amber was wrongfully accused for an incident that was misinterpreted and over-sensationalized by two individuals in a powerful position and remain close to this day, end quote. All right? Now, that email was sent in response to a press article, an article that was put in the press, which we can see, tab 5, 1768. You can put away. Tab 5. My fault. You can put away 5 and get the something else out. Yes, thank you. Can I have that tab number again, please? Interrupts the judge. Tab 176A. It should be F1132 at the bottom. Judge. The article, Amber Heard arrested for domestic violence against girlfriend? Yes. What is that number again? Sorry. 176A. Do you have it? Yes, thank you. That is an article which the learned judge has just read out the headline Amber Heard arrested for domestic violence against girlfriend. It is dated, I'm going to suggest, the 7th of June, 2016. If we tie that up with the email we've just looked at, remember it was 8th of June or 6th of August. Yes. It looks like this email is written following the publicity of this article. Yes, it seems like it follows. Yes. We know from the email that arrest of Amber Heard was in 2009. So on the face of it, would you agree that it is strange that this story finds itself in the media in June 2016? Do I find it strange? Judge interrupts. 2009 was which arrest date, please? There was only one arrest, as I said, in 2009 to Johnny. 5 years later, it is reported in this celebrity magazine of some sort, TMZ. Yes, TMZ. It is a celebrity outlet. Okay, and it is dated in June 2016, really within a short time after Ms. Heard obtained a restraining order against you. Yes. A week or two? Yes. Did you and your publicity team have anything to do with this story being released to the media? I myself can only speak for me and my actions, and I had nothing to do with anything to do with me. Would your publicity people ever act behind your back? Would they have done this behind your back? I sure would hope not. No. So we would have to consider your answer that you had nothing to do with it. I'm just looking at the dates, but can we read the article? Quote, Amber Heard complains she was the victim of domestic violence by husband Johnny Depp, was herself arrested for domestic violence. Amber and Tasia Van Ree. End quote. My copy, my lord, does not seem to flow on from the judge interrupts. I think mine is the same, Ms. Was. Anyway, if it is important, we can come back to that tomorrow. Your account, Mr. Depp, is that the story is adverse to Ms. Heard, which actually were not accurate. Found their way into the press after she obtained a domestic violence restraining order against you. You absolutely had nothing to do with it. No, I did not. Would you have sanctioned it had you been asked? No. No. All right. Now, can I just ask you this? Is Ms. Van Ree, Ms. Van Ree made a number of paintings, did she not? And gave more than one of them to Ms. Heard? I do not know how many. I do not know that she gave a number of paintings. More than one? I would say that you would have to ask Ms. Heard. I am asking you. I do not know the answer. You do not know. I know there was one painting. You know about one painting? Yes. All right, let's stick on one. At least we can make some progress with that. The two of them remained on very good terms, did they not? Initially, when Ms. Heard and I first began seeing one another, she and Tasia, her wife, had split up, and Vanessa and I were split up. And when we were seeing one another, as you do, you ask, I'm sorry, how did it happen? Ms. Heard's attitude towards Miss Van Ree at the time was not of the most pleasant. She did not have the nicest things to say about Ms. Van Ree. I'm going to suggest that they were on good terms. And in fact, the painting that you have referred to was actually kept by Ms. Heard and put up in her place where she was living in Orange County in Los Angeles. It was Orange Avenue. Orange Avenue, thank you. In Los Angeles, yes, it was hanging in her bedroom. Exactly. Can I ask you, please, to look at file 7, tab 6262C. It is in file 7. Maybe it's file 862C. Thank you. Judge interrupts. I have 62C in file 8. So have I, and Mr. Depp has as well. I think we have all found it now, says the judge. And Ms. Was continues. As long as we all have it, yes. Okay, Mr. Depp. You were telling us about your relationship with Ms. Paradis. I think one of the problems in that relationship was your alcohol and drug addiction, misuse, if you prefer that word. I would definitely say towards the end of my relationship with Ms. Paradis, the mother of my children, it was a very painful time to break up with someone that you have been with for 14 years and that you have 2 children with. So it was a very painful time, and I was more than likely trying to numb myself as much as possible. Am I right in saying that you agree that you were abusing alcohol and drugs, but you have explained why? I would say that I was abusing alcohol. I do not know that I was abusing drugs, but I was abusing alcohol for sure. Yes. All right. Going to that email, that is an email from you. Is it? If you look at the first hole punch, there is an email address, JDDictator3. Is that your email address? Yes. Is it to Matthias Bouchion? Yes. Is that Mr. Paradis's father? Excuse me? Who is that? Matthias Bouchion is someone who worked at our house in the south of France for the past 20 years. So is it a friend? A friend employee. Friend employee. Okay, go down to the second hole punch down. Yes. Can you see a line that begins with to numb? It is one that says human. Can you see that? The first word in the line is human. Am I looking just under the second hole punch? Um, Second hole punch down. Yes, I see. Numb. Yes. What do you say? And I will read it all because it confirms what you just said. Not to use this, it is dated for the avoidance of doubt on 8th of February 2012. Yes. So this was during the split or towards the end of the split. I cannot recall exactly. Shall we look at the email? And it might be easier for you to answer that question when you have been reminded. Quote, not to use this as an excuse at all, because there is none, but my drinking was never for fun. I've been trying to numb and self medicate my pain for years. My brain has not been right. End quote. Can I ask you, Mr. Depp, the pain that you keep referring to, is this something to do with your childhood? Or just in a nutshell, can you help us what it is that causes you, in your own mind, the need to self medicate and numb yourself so regularly? Well, as regularly as necessary. I would not say it was regularly. My need to numb myself, I was in a great deal of pain. So, physical pain or emotional pain? No, no, no. Emotional pain. What was the cause of that emotional pain? Well, the world I had no. This is so tough to read, by the way, you guys. I'm sorry. Just a little quick editor's note. I'm just gonna chime in here for just a second. It's like going into the mind of this man again is just it's just so difficult because as I read his words, obviously there's a personal element here, and I get to relive his pain in my own words after I read his words to you all. So I just wanted to let you all know that this is definitely not an easy task. Um, but obviously, I'm just going to keep going. But I just wanted to give you guys a little my own personal feelings on this. It's really tough because you get to understand this man on a very intimate level when you read his own words out loud as to what he was speaking in that court in the UK, much like what he did in the US. But in the US, we just listened, whereas here I get to actually read them and feel them as if he is speaking them. So it's a much, much different feeling, at least for me personally. I don't know if you guys feel that and if it resonates with you in the same way that it resonates with me, but yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. Well, the world I had known and the family that we had raised was either on the verge of falling apart, and my children they were 14, I believe, and 11. And those are difficult ages when your parents split up. And so, in answer to my question, what was it that was causing the emotional pain? The split? I would imagine it was a combination of things, but the main concern that I had at the time was, losing my family, losing my children, not losing my children, but having our world spin away. It was a very, very sad, and she was very, very sad, and I think I didn't like making her sad, and I did not like making my children sad. Are you sure it was not the alcohol that was causing the problems in the marriage? As I said, towards the end of the relationship, I would hit the bottle pretty good. All right, let us have a look at what else you say. Quote, so my drinking was never for fun. I have been trying to numb and self medicate my pain for years. My brain has not been right. What does that mean? My brain has not been right. It is a very difficult thing to define. I will do my best. My brain has not been right, meaning I was having difficulty and have always had difficulty with confrontation, with seeing that I have caused someone pain, broke someone's heart. And throughout my teenage years, and then to my adult years, say when I was 22 and somewhere thereabouts, is when I went from not being able to pay my rent to suddenly I had this job, and the next thing people were, you would go to a restaurant and people were staring and pointing, and I was not quite used to that. I never got quite used to that, and I was always wondered. I could never figure out what it was all for, because certainly there are is a privileged position to be in, and it is not a job which you can complain about having. But some of these sacrifices that have to be made mean that you do not have a life outside in the world. You have, it was difficult to even, it is difficult to go anywhere without being a novelty, if you would. I understand, and I don't want to cut you short, but you are describing is one of the trappings of fame, if you like. You're not saying that here. You are saying your brain has not been right. That if that was your definition of your brain has not been right, every single celebrity or famous person would have a brain that is not right. I quite a lot that I have met have brains that are not right. Yes. He just calls her out like it is. I mean, that is beautiful. Sorry, I'm back to editor's note, because that is just, that is exactly what was going through my mind as I was reading this. Again, Ms. Was asks, if that is your definition of your brain not being right, then every single celebrity or famous person would have a brain that is not right. And then Johnny just calls her out. Quite a lot of celebrities that I have met have brains that are not right. Yes. And then he follows up with, I do not think it is the healthiest occupation, which I completely agree with. Billy Aoki is calling me out on my Johnny Depp accent. Yes. Thank you very much. You ever have been standing at the top of a cliff and then have this sudden urge to jump? And let me tell you right now, boys and girls, I do not have it. This is about as close to the Johnny accent that I can get. I have to like almost grin my teeth in order to be able to do that, and it's probably still is absolutely terrible. But I'm trying. I'm trying my absolute bestest, and this is the best that you're gonna get. So hey, if you don't like it, you can get somebody else to go and read the transcript for you. So this is about all I got. Savvy. Let's go on. After 2 separate lengthy stays in the hospital to get off alcohol and pills, starts an article, I know now, after almost 2 months of sobriety, that I was not happy, and from the doctor's discoveries that had I continued, I was going to die. The liver has had enough. I have been living in a state of constant poison for years, and this cannot continue. I need peace. Vanessa needs peace, and she deserves to be happy. End quote. Now, is that accurate, what you have said there about your alcohol abuse? Yes. You have been living in a state of constant poison for years. I would say I might have, when you are in that state, I may have taken a little bit of liberty with the words saying constant, but it has occurred throughout my life. Yes, yes. So again, I'm not suggesting that for every minute of your waking day you are drunk or high on drugs, but this was really a regular part of your life, was it not? Drink and pills, you say here. What pills are you talking about? For certain periods, yes, it was a regular part of my diet. What pills are you talking about? The pills that I kicked in New York at the hospital when I stopped drinking alcohol. I believe they were Klonopin, I believe. You sometimes refer as pills, you refer to ecstasy or MDMA pills, do you not? Well, MDMA can come, or MDMA or ecstasy can come in pill form, but mostly I have seen it in a sort of brown kind of rock. It is sort of loose. It looks like a rock salt, only it is brown, and it is in a little bag, and you put your finger in, and you have taken it in pill form. Have you not, MDMA? Yes, I have. So that email, I think we can put that away now. I think you say, maybe a bit of an exaggeration, but you certainly accept that you have not been in a state of constant poison, given a bit of florid language for years. Yes? Yes. When I was poisoning myself, I was poisoning myself the best I could. And staying with file 8, did you always respect Ms. Paradis as the mother of your child? Did you end on good terms? Yes, we did. I have always respected her, and I, of course, love her very much, and we are very close. Would you give me a moment? Could you go in the file you have in front of you to a 63A? Has my lord got that? Yes. Is it an email to Jane Rose dated March 20th, 2013? Judge interrupts. At the top of the page is the email from Jane Rose, but I think we are on the same page. Oh, that is right. And in the middle of the page, we see something something.com. Am I right in saying that is your email address? We have just looked at that. Yes. We do not need to consider too much of the context, but I just wanted to ask you this. You said, also, I am with my girl, Amber. Have you got that? Yes. So this looks like you were showing her off to your friends at this stage, which is the beginning of 2013. It is March of 2013. Quote, also, I am with my girl, Amber. You will love her. Is it all right to bring her around with me? She is not a pain in the ass like the French ex-albatross, no comparison. End quote. I mean, did you consider that to be a decent way of describing the woman who is the mother of your two children? No. Looking at it, I would say it is, yes. Again, it does not make me very pleased with myself. I would say it is very disrespectful and disgusting in a way. Yes. And then you go on, whatever is all right is fine. She's just on my arm and a killer broad. Yes. What does that refer to? That would have referred to Ms. Heard. Yes, she was a bit of an arm candy for you, was she? Is that what you're saying here? She's just on my arm and a killer broad? My intention was certainly not to describe her as arm candy. So, what does she's just on my arm mean? She is just on my arm. It means that she's going to be with me. She's just on my arm, meaning, all right, she's going, she's not going to wander around and talk to anyone else. Well, just I do not know. She is not going to make a big deal about spending time with Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones and all these other people. It was not going to turn her into some spiraling fan, is essentially what I'm trying to say. She's on my arm. She is a killer broad. You have told us about your separation from Vanessa, if you do not mind me calling her that. Sure. But your addiction or your consumption of poison also caused problems with your daughter, did it not? And made her very unhappy. The alcohol that you were consuming. I think that there was a period where my daughter was concerned for her father's safety. Yes, and safety is that you would, Judge interrupts. Sorry, did you say father's sake or father's safety? Safety. Safety. I thought you said that. Yes, yes. I think she was concerned about my health. Because when you get very drunk, and I don't mean you, when people get very drunk, they can injure themselves. Yes? When you get very drunk, you can smash things up. Can you not? I would have to say it does not take alcohol to do that. You can just smash things up. Judge interrupts. Sorry, Mr. Depp, your voice is dropping again. I'm sorry. I just have to remind you, please, to keep your voice nice and loud. You were asked when people get drunk, they can injure themselves. Yes. I think you were starting to answer that, but I did not catch what you have answered. I'm sorry. I was saying that the ability or the impetus or the synapse that fires does not necessarily mean that you have to be drunk to smash something or throw something against the wall or punch a wall or door. It is human reflex to something that feels stronger than you. It is a frustration. That is what happens. It is a loss of control, is it not? It is an outburst of anger, which is uncontrolled. It is a mini explosion that comes and goes quite quickly. Yes. Well, there is no, it does not mean that every time I have a drink, I break something. It does not mean that every time somebody says something that I do not like, I break something or throw a tantrum. Not every time, but you break things, do you not? And you do throw tantrums. I do not throw tantrums. You just said it does not mean every time. Well, what I'm trying to explain to you is that it does not take alcohol for one to become upset about something. That reaction, the internal reaction, does not require alcohol to slam your hand down on a table or to be frustrated about what you are unable to do. When it is out of your hands and you have fallen prey to something that is bigger than you. And it is, that is pretty much it. Did you smash things when you were living with Miss Paradis? Over 14 years, I imagine that I must have. And over 14 years, I imagine she must have. Were the police ever called to your home in France? No, never. 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 What was Miss Paradis's approach to your alcohol intake and your drug intake? Ms. Paradis never had a problem. No, with my drinking. And when I was with Ms. Paradis for those 14 years, I did not touch cocaine. I was not even smoking marijuana then. I had stopped drinking spirits. I was drinking only wine for the entire period. But in large enough quantities to describe it as being a poison to your friend, Mr. Baukil? When, as I tried to explain it, the head does not feel right and things are going on that are indeed, yes, out of your control, that are unpleasant, that was what I would do. I think Ms. Paradis was concerned very late in our relationship because then it was a constant, but there were no drugs involved. I was raising my children along with Ms. Paradis. So she did not have a problem, you said, about you drinking or taking drugs. Am I right in assuming that you are saying by that she never stopped you? She never tried to stop you from drinking or taking pills. Like I said, I did not take drugs when I was with Ms. Paradis. Well, the pills you have spoken about, the pills and medication from my doctor, yes. Judge interrupts. It may help me, Ms. Wass, if when you are talking about drugs, you are careful to distinguish between medications on the one hand and illegal drugs on the other. Ms. Wass responds, okay, yes, let's just stick to the alcohol when it comes to your relationship with Ms. Paradis. You were drinking to the extent that you described it as a poison to one of your friends, but your evidence is that she did not try to interfere and stop you from drinking. Towards the end of our relationship, Ms. Paradis was concerned about my drinking because, yes, I would drink to great excess, but drinking to great excess does not mean that you are out of control. It appears to others that you are drinking yourself to death, and I think she was in fear of my drinking myself to death. Right. Yes. Now, Ms. Heard had a very different approach to your drinking, and by the time you were with Ms. Heard, you were also taking cocaine and other controlled drugs, including marijuana. Judge interrupts. It may be helpful to split those questions up. Yes, the point I wish to make, Mr. Depp. Are you all right? Have you got a runny nose? No, I'm fine. The point I'm trying to make, Mr. Depp, is that you had two very different women in terms of their characters. Ms. Paradis, on the one hand, was very tolerant of your drinking and did not try to stop you. And Ms. Heard, on the other hand, who did try to help you with what she considered your abuse of alcohol and your abuse of controlled drugs, including cocaine. Do you agree that the two women took very different approach to your consumption? I would agree that they were very, very different women, very different types of women. When Ms. Heard and I began seeing one another, she was well aware that I was drinking wine as we drank wine together. And this was late 2011, if we can get the dates, because I think you went into rehab beginning of 2012. Yes, I checked myself into a hospital in New York to stop drinking. Yes, and when you stopped drinking after your relationship with Ms. Heard was quite a slow start to the relationship. Do you agree? Yes. Yes. You explained to her because, as you rightly say, you had been drinking the first time you spent any time on a personal level together. Yes. You did not see her for quite a while, and then you saw her again, and you were not drinking at all. I think you became very keen on tea when I met Ms. Heard. I'm not talking about meeting her. I'm talking about the relationship again. The premiere of the Rum Diary in Los Angeles was the same day as the press conference in Los Angeles. We did the press conference, and at the end of the day, I had invited Ms. Heard and the director, Bruce Robinson, after the press to come to the holding room, the hotel room that I was in, to have a glass of wine. Ms. Heard showed up. Mr. Robinson didn't. We shared a bottle of wine and we spoke. That was when I found out that she and her ex, or her wife at the time, now her ex, were going to be, and I was, or the relationship with Vanessa was unfortunately very, it crumbled. All right. All right. But once you told Ms. Heard about the fact that you had been to rehab because you said you had checked into some sort of institution in early 2012, you explained to her, did you not, that you were not drinking? In fact, it was New York. It does not matter where it was. Can we just try and stick to whether you agree with what I'm suggesting to you or not? The first time you were together as a couple, rather than in a work environment, you are drinking alcohol. Yes. Not excessively. I'm not suggesting that. Yes, I am drinking. But you enjoyed red wine hugely, did you not? Yes, very much. And she is very keen on red wine herself, is she not? Yes. And you buy a lot of really, really expensive red wine, do you not? I have. I think you told one magazine, when it was suggested that you spend $30,000 a month on wine, that was nonsense, because the truth was it was considerably more than that. It was. It was. And that is true. There were a lot of people drinking that wine. You were generous to your friends. Let us not get distracted. We were all living on the same floor. Let's put it that way. The position is that after you had been to rehab, you were not drinking, and you explained to Ms. Heard why you were not drinking? No, that is not true. What happened then? I left the hospital and I went and checked into a hotel. Ms. Heard was coming over that night. When I arrived at the hotel, I immediately opened a bottle of wine. She arrived and I poured us glasses of wine and we drank. Was this after you had been to rehab? It was not rehab. It was 3 days in a hospital room in New York. And the day that I got out of the hospital, Ms. Heard and I had made some arrangements to see one another that night in my hotel suite. She came over and I had already opened the bottle and it was waiting for her. Was there ever a time when you explained to Ms. Heard, or was there ever a time when you were not drinking alcohol in the early stages of the relationship with Ms. Heard? And you explained to her that you were not drinking alcohol because you had a problem with your liver. Yes, we had that conversation. And when was that? I do not recall. That is what I wanted to ask you about. Around that time when you were not drinking, you made a real effort, did you not? Yes. To clean yourself up? I got sober of alcohol and remained sober. For how long? At that time, I cannot remember exactly how long, but it was quite a long while. What do you call a long while? I was not drinking during the entire shoot of Lone Ranger, which was probably a 6 month shoot. I do not remember the next time or when I fell off the wagon, as it were. Yes, I was doing my best to stay sober. And you had friends supporting you, did you not, through this attempt at sobriety? Yes. Somebody called Charlie Dunnett? Yes. Judge interrupts. Just a minute. Charlie Dunnett? Dunnit. Yes. And Elton John? Yes. Yes, there is an email exchange between you and Elton John dated March 22nd, 2012. Subject 100 days, right? 100 days is very important when it comes to detoxing, giving up, whatever you want to call it, because it is a big achievement. It is a milestone. It is considered to be a milestone. It is quite an achievement, yes. Could you go to tab 62? I'm going to check that is in file 8. It might be at the back of file 7. It is 62D. Yes, Judge. It is 8, or at least it is 8 in mine. Yes, same here. If we start your email, it begins just above the first hole punch. Do you see that, dearest Elton? Yes, I do. Quote, a fucking 100 days of clarity for an old reprobate twat like me. No one would have ever believed it possible, but a very select few, most importantly you. So today I'm fucking celebrating you. End quote. Then you go on. Quote, your love, understanding, and complete dedication to the curing of my poisoned wet brain and liver, resembling Mrs. Thatcher, has been, alongside the birth of my children, the most lovely and most important thing that has ever happened to me in all of my 48 years. It is impossible for me to fathom how you are able to juggle your quite large life and work whilst keeping me afloat on a dreadful sea of confusion. Hellish personal life, fucked brain, hurt heart, and internal savagery against myself. I would have been swallowed up by the monster were it not for you. That is a simple fact. End quote. Now, that is dated March 22nd, 2012. That is when you were in what you called your sober period. Yes. So, a period you have just told us when it was a long time before you fell off the wagon. From the statement that Ms. Heard has made in these proceedings, that the first time she says she met the monster was in March 2013. Do you remember? Yes, I do remember. Yes. So I asked you earlier this afternoon, or suggested to you, that the monster was your name for your alter ego. You referred to Jekyll and Hyde, but I think we know that we are talking about two sides of a person. You referred to the monster, yes, as that part of you which was destructive and angry and an addict. And is that what you were saying to Elton John? Quote, I would have been swallowed up by the monster, end quote. It is not a coincidence, is it, that you used that term? That was your pet name for Mr. Hyde, for your Mr. Hyde, as you called it, was it not? No. So what does that mean? What are you saying to Elton John there? I am thanking him for helping me get sober. I understand that. And when I say I would have been swallowed up by the monster were it not for you, that is a simple fact. It is a fact because the monster is your Mr. Hyde, the part of you that behaves so badly, the very different part from the soft-spoken, charming man that we see before us here today in court. Ms. Was, I can appreciate your need to continue to apply the word monster to me as an alter ego. The word monster has many uses. We can all find that in the dictionary. I am not being facetious, or I'm not trying to be rude. What I am saying here, quote, I would have been swallowed up by the monster were it not for you. That is a simple fact, end quote. The monster, it is the same thing as saying I would have been consumed by this poison. The monster here is death. You see, a year after this email was written was the first time that you used violence on Ms. Heard. I will come to that later, but in essence, you slapped her 3 times across the face. That is not true. And then immediately came to your senses and started crying and apologizing and telling her that you have an illness and that you called your illness this monster. That is not true. That is not the truth. Ms. Heard has never been in rehab, has she? I do not know. If she had been in rehab, you would have used it as part of your vilification of her character to suggest that she drank and took drugs to access. She has not been in rehab. That is an assumption that you are making. And what assumption is that? What you just said. You see, Ms. Heard had a very different relationship with alcohol from the relationship that you had. I'm sorry, I did not understand what you were saying. You had a relationship with alcohol that was toxic. You regarded it as poisonous. You had to go to rehab. You had to be treated by doctors, nurses, and a special detoxification process. That is the story of your adult life, is it not? No, it is not. The fight between sobriety and alcohol and drug abuse. You are correct in saying that there had been an internal fight in me in terms of alcohol and drugs and other numbing agents throughout my life from the age of 11 on through. But to say what you are saying, you are basing it on what someone has said to you. Judge interrupts. Mr. Depp, let me interrupt a moment. It is Ms. Wass's task to put the defendant's case to you and to elicit questions or to put questions to you so that I can hear your evidence. I understand, sir. That is her function. I understand. Right. Back to Ms. Wass. Mr. Depp, for avoidance of doubt, it is not what someone is saying to me. If you are suggesting that I am a mouthpiece for Ms. Heard, because I am not, I'm referring to extensive medical notes which are in the bundle to your right. You understand that, do you not? Okay, sure. You know all about those medical notes? I do not believe in any medical notes that I have not seen. I am called a monster. I do not believe in any medical notes that I've seen. I am called a monster. There we go. I think we are at cross purposes. I am talking about your addiction. I think we had moved on from the monster. I was saying that you had a very toxic relationship with drink and controlled drugs. Ms. Heard did not. She would consume alcohol, and she had taken controlled drugs, but it was not a problem for her the way it was a problem for you. I think you said that. I have to say, I'm saying it is not to me having to say that. It is in the medical evidence in this case. Right. You are asking me if Ms. Heard had ever gone to rehab. Yes, and you said you did not know. And I do not know. But I can say I have never been to rehab, yet you keep referring to rehab. I went to a hospital where I was under a doctor's care for 3 days, and then I was released. It is not a rehab center. All right. What would you like me to call that center? Detoxification unit? Hospital. Yes, but hospital detox. Okay, let us alight on a word that we do not have to argue when I raise it. As far as you are concerned, you have been in detox many times. Twice. What about Dr. Kipper on the island in 2014? Excuse me, 3 times. Yes. During the time you were with Ms. Heard, she has not been in detox ever. No. All right. Did you think when you first started seeing Ms. Heard in terms of a relationship that you were fortunate that she had turned her attention to you? Yes. And did you encourage and support her career? Yes. Did you ever try to prevent her from pursuing her career? No. Did you ever try and interfere with her contracts, her film contracts, as to what she should and should not do in a film? Yes, if I was asked to, yes. No, no, no. Without asking, did you interfere in her career choices? No. Did you ever refer to her disparagingly to her actress bullshit and her fucking ambition? Yes. And what was that all about? Ms. Heard's greatest frustration and complaint with regard to her career was that she was upset that she was being objectified, and she wanted to do roles that were deeper and had more of an impact, say, on someone's emotions, deeper material, more profound, something with some where she could show her abilities as an actress. Why is that actress called? Excuse me. Why is that called actress bullshit? Well, because she would say that she did not want to be objectified, and she. Why is that actress bullshit? I'm sorry. I am still speaking. She was telling me that how much she did not want to be objectified anymore, and she did not want to be looked at as the pretty girl, or she did not want to have to get her breasts out or be nude in a film anymore. And I said, well, do not. You do not have to. And so she wanted my advice. I gave her my advice. And unfortunately, or fortunately, she continued to do the same type of films. And I thought to myself, I thought that she was above them. So why did you refer to her actress bullshit and her fucking ambition? I referred to that as essentially, if she does not want to be objectified, if you do not want to be looked upon as some beautiful, you do not want people to look at you and go, oh my God, a sexy, whatever, then in my opinion, one should stick to their guns and not wear certain things to premieres that are revealing, that are quite revealing. And if she did not want to be objectified, then I thought it best that she try to be a little more reserved in her approach to her films and her approach to how she presents herself in public. Did you ever try to influence what clothes she would wear? Well, I would never tell her what to wear, but I would certainly make mention if I thought it was, if what she was wearing was completely against the grain of what she told me her wishes were, because I did not find it very helpful to what she was looking for in terms of being taken seriously as an actress. I told her she did not have to be naked in films. If it was not, you do not have to do that. We have looked at the email with Elton John. I wanted to ask you, please, about another email, file 7, tab 62. Judge, just a minute. While you're finding it, Mr. Depp, so you know what I'm asking you. You told Elton John on March 22nd that you had reached that 100-day threshold. Yes. And we will look later at some texts with Charlie Dunnett saying a similar sort of thing. Yes. Judge, 62E, you said? 62E. This is still in book 8, yes? Did you say file 7? File 8. Sorry. If I said 7, many apologies. Never mind, says the judge. If you go to the second page, first, Mr. Depp, where we started. The second page? You know, the emails work backwards, yes? Yes. Start at the second page, which should say 10:10 at the bottom. Yes. April 19th, 2012, quarter to 11 in the morning, Stephen Deuters wrote, now he was your PA of some sort. Is that right? Yes, he was my personal assistant. Does my lord have the page? I do. Yes. Thank you. Okay. We're all settled to leave here at approximately 1:30 p. Hopefully you're a well-rested MD. What is MD? He call him Master Duders. Okay, over the page at the bottom at 11:59. Judge, sorry, MD, is that just the name that you referred to Stephen Duders as? Yes, I call him Master Duders. Duders, is that how you pronounce it? Yes. Yes, I see that. Quote, I got drunk and destroyed my room. There are hookers and animals in here, end quote. You had broken your sobriety. Had you on that occasion? It sounds like it, does it not? I believe that text is a joke. I got drunk and destroyed my room. There are hookers and animals in here. It is my sense of humor. I am sorry. What is so funny about that? You had a history of destroying rooms and getting drunk. Why did Mr. Duders think that was going to be funny? Because I was making fun of myself and I was toying with him, saying, to worry him. That was done in fun. It is a joke. And the joke carries on really for some time, does it not? Because he says, have you, the rest is unclear. Yes. What does that mean? Eaten. Have you eaten anything? Yes. Because what you would do when you were on a bender, you would not eat for days sometimes, would you? Again, no, not on a bender. It maybe not, but I sometimes do not eat for days in total sobriety. And he was asking you, he did not say what a cracking joke. He was saying whether you have eaten. And you said, can you see at 12:11? You say, I don't want something. Thank you. End quote. You did not want any food. Quote, is it okay to is it okay to put on a condom after the fact? I mean, if I wear it for the rest of the day, like that works, does it not? I have to kill a few of the animals for substance. I've made quite a mess. Sustenance. Sorry. Sustenance. I've made quite a mess. There is blood and animal tracks everywhere. Yes, I did write that. And you say this was part of the joke. I can assure you that the words I am writing to him are not true. Then he is saying, this is in reference to the condom, there is a joke about that or a remark about that. You say at the end, quote, I'm going to jump in the shower and have a good solid week afterwards. Can we locate Charlie? I would love to hang out with him before we split. End quote. Yes, that is Charlie Dunnett, who was a good friend, Elton's, who Elton sent to be with me and support me through my sobriety. So you're saying the entire exchange was simply a joke and nothing more than that? Yes. Yes, ma'am. The exchange is a very abstract and absurdist joke. It is writing nonsense to each other, or at least my nonsense. Did Charlie Dunnett, if this is a reference to Charlie Dunnett, I'm sorry. Did Charlie Dunnett, if this is a reference to Charlie Dunnett, know Raquel? Did Charlie Dunnett know Raquel? Yes. No. Can you go behind divider 6? There is a long text schedule at the first part is divider 6. File 6. File 6. Thank you. Judge, is this 119? It is tab 119, yes. Thank you, says the judge. I think these are helpfully numbered in the left-hand column, are they not? I would not seek any assistance from that, my lord, because the numbers are not sequential. What I'm going to be doing is referring to the bottom pagination and then locate the text within it if that is agreeable. Yes, responds the judge. To Johnny, can you see the text, the second text down, says Ms. Watts. Yes. A text from you. You're called to him in these texts dated 11th of December, 2012. Yes. Charlie on his way, and I am upstairs with Raquel. Are you coming? Judge, sorry, I have lost you. What page are we now? Sorry, page 4. Page 4, F69.4. Yes, and which the second text down. Charlie on his way, and I'm upstairs with Raquel. Are you coming? Yes. Okay. Tell us about that, Mr. Depp. So, Charlie, you say, is Charlie done it? Raquel, I think, was his girlfriend. Is that right? Was a girlfriend, excuse me. Is that right? Uh, she was a girl that I had dated. I was seeing before I started seeing Ms. Heard on a regular basis. Yes. Because this is 2012. At the end of 2012, I think there might have been a bit of an overlap there. Do you not? Possibly. Yes. So you were seeing Raquel. I think this is a different Raquel, and maybe pronounced differently, just for the record, because we did have a Raquel who was Ms. Heard's um, witness during the trial, but she didn't come in to testify. We just played her deposition. It might be pronounced Rochelle. I don't know. But I'm just going to keep calling it Raquel because I don't know how to properly pronounce it. So you were seeing Raquel, seeing Ms. Heard, and you are asking, according to the timing of this, at just before 9 o'clock in the morning, telling someone in a text that you were upstairs with Raquel and you were hoping for Charlie, or you were expecting Charlie to be on his way if Charlie is indeed Charlie done it. Well, it would have been, this is 2012, that would have been Charlie done it. You have just told me that Charlie Dunnett did not know Raquel. Why is Charlie Dunnett coming up to see you and Raquel at that time in the morning? I am not suggesting that Charlie and Raquel know one another. I am just saying I am upstairs with Raquel. Is Charlie or saying that Charlie's on his way? I am upstairs with Raquel. Are you coming? So were you seeing Raquel at the same time that you were seeing Ms. Heard? It looks like it, does it not? One could assume that there was what you are suggesting, but it is not. It does not say anything about us seeing one another, being with one another in any way. I'm asking you to answer the question. She was a friend. Yes. She was a friend. She was somebody you stayed in contact with after you started seeing Ms. Heard. Yes. Here and there. Yes. But I ended up having to stop seeing her. I stopped seeing her. When did you stop seeing her? When things got serious and more serious with Ms. Heard. And Ms. Heard was very jealous of Raquel. You were seeing Raquel during the course of your marriage, were you not? Even after your marriage in 2015, you were seeing Raquel? Raquel and I have stayed in contact. So after Ms. Heard and I broke up, yes, I did see Raquel. No. Before. We will look at it tomorrow now. Before the breakup, there are regular meetings you had with Raquel before you were married and after you were married. Immediately after you were married to Ms. Heard. The judge, Ms. Was, I'm not sure how helpful allegations of two timing are going to be given the circumstances. Okay, I will leave it for now, but can I explain to my lord? There was an incident on March the 23rd, 2015, when it became apparent that Mr. Depp was indeed continuing his relationship, and it caused an enormous argument. So, to that extent, it is relevant. All right, you can come back to that if you think it is relevant later. Yes, Mr. Depp, you said in your witness statement you regard yourself as a gentleman. Yes? I try to conduct myself as a gentleman. Yes. What you said, and I will quote from your statement, quote, I am from a Southern family and rules were instilled in me from birth by my mother that you would be a Southern gentleman or it would be beaten into you. Even as a child, chivalry was extremely important. Integrity, dignity, honesty, and respect for women. These were characteristics of a gentleman and characteristics that I have always expected to have. As part of this, I feel it is a strong and central part of my moral code that I would never strike a woman under any circumstances at any time. I find it inconceivable that that would happen. End quote. Yes? Yes. Do you think you live up to the standard of a Southern gentleman? Yes, ma'am. When we saw that clip of you smashing bottles in your kitchen while Miss Heard was drinking a cup of coffee, do you think that was part of your Southern gentleman code? I think that even when one's aspiration is to be a gentleman, a great gentleman, a great Southern gentleman, and it is something that is bred into you, and it is something that you believe in wholeheartedly, that does not exclude me from the family of humans who have moments of frustration. Ms. Heard was not struck in that video. I do not think had I struck anyone in that video. Are you asking me a question? No, I am saying Ms. Heard was not struck in that video. You're absolutely right. She was not struck in that video. Judge interrupts. I think you should let Mr. Depp finish answering your question. I'm sorry, Mr. Depp. Please continue. I do my best to remain true to the things that I do and still carry from my youth. The things that I do appreciate in things that I learned from my mother, and no matter how abusive she could be, it is something that is very important to me. So, yes, I will always conduct myself as a gentleman. And I hope that I have answered your question. You did not, actually. You did not answer my question. I am so sorry. My question was, looking at that video of you behaving in the way that you did, shouting, being intimidating, and smashing glasses, do you think that was consistent with your aspirations to behave like a Southern gentleman? I think that everybody has a moment or two in their life. I think that I maybe had a moment. Do I relaxed? The standards of Southern gentlemen were not adhered to, were they? A human lapse. A Southern gentleman was not in my mind at that particular moment, obviously, because you were angry. Yes, ma'am. You see, Southern gentlemen, do they refer to women like sluts and whores and bitches? What are you referring to? Would you regard that as a gentlemanly way of describing a woman? No, certainly not. So that would be another lapse if you use language like that. If I called someone that, it would be. It would be. If I called someone that, it would be a horrible, something that I would find very offensive. And referring to a woman as a slut is offensive, is it not? Yes. And referring to a woman as a whore is offensive. Yes. Would you look at page 4 of the text messages? I think you should be on it already. Fourth from the bottom, you're texting somebody called Marino. Who is he or she? That is my sister. Your sister, Christy. Yes. I mean, there are 3 people there, so you're saying to your sister, quote, I will bring some cash over to pay and tip the bitch, end quote. Yes. I did not include in my list of offensive words of describing females the word bitch. Yes, but you used it there. Yes. Who are you referring to? I do not know, to be honest. Okay, let us read on, and your memory might be refreshed. According to you, then, Marino, who you say is your sister, says, yeah, sloppy slut, quote unquote. Is that how your sister refers to other women? That is not. You are saying that is from my sister? No, you said it was from your sister. It appears to me, and I may have got this wrong, so I am prepared to be guided by you. It appears to be a conversation you are having with someone who is called Marino. The judge interrupts. I think, is that address Marino Richard TAT? No, my lord. Richard Tat is another email address that I have. Yes, and Chris Dombrowski is your sister? Yes, my sister's name is Christy Dombrowski. So sometimes when you cannot put down my actual name, we will use Chris Dombrowski and that would be me. But I'm looking at the phone numbers here. Let us just read on, and we can come back to who the conversation is with. We know some of it was sent by you, and some of it was sent by the person you are conversing with. You say, I will bring some cash over and pay the bitch, and pay and tip the bitch. And the other person says, yeah, sloppy slut. And then say, fucking ugly fat whore. Yes. Marino then says, bring the cash and the whore. And you say, for the idiot cow. And then again say, will do. I'll smack the ugly cunt around before I let her in, don't worry. Then later on, half an hour later, you said, did that worthless hooker arrive? Yes. Now, all the language that I think we have identified that is not very southernly gentlemanly, would you agree? It is not at all southern gentlemanly. It is not gentlemanly at all. It is not even ladylike, if that is your sister, is it? No. In fact, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I recognize the phone number now. That is an exchange between Vanessa and myself. Vanessa, why is Vanessa talking about a sloppy slut? Because we were joking about something or someone. Again, this is not a serious exchange, but sorry, but these exchanges between Vanessa and I, where we were joking around and saying idiotic things. Where was she when this conversation took place? I have to look at the time. I'm going to say she was in Los Angeles at that time, just because of the time. Because if she was in Paris, it would have been 6 a.m. there. I'm finding it difficult, Mr. Depp, to understand. I understand you were saying you were not paying for a sex worker here, which it might look like. It was actually just a gag, a joke, yeah? Yes. Could you explain? You send a text to Vanessa. I will bring some cash over to pay and tip the bitch. Yes. Why would she find that funny? Why did you find that funny? I do not remember what this text is in reference to, but it is clearly some kind of joke. I mean, we are sparring in this abstract arena of, using ignorant words to one another, sending them to one another, making each other laugh. Are you pretending to her that you are paying for sex there? Is that what this joke is all about? No. Bring the cash and the whore, she says to you. No, I do not think it had anything to do with me pretending to be with a prostitute or anything. I think it was just some strange, an exchange between us that was joking. It is an exchange between you and somebody else. Is it not? And you say that it is your sister. No, sorry, your ex-partner. Yes, that is my ex-partner, Vanessa. Yes. And you were talking about bringing cash to pay a woman who is described as a, quote, fucking ugly fat whore by you. Yes. That is you, fucking ugly fat whore. Who on earth are you talking about? She says, yeah, a sloppy slut. That comes from Vanessa to me. It comes from the person that you were texting, which you say is Vanessa. I said, fucking ugly fat whore. Who are you talking about? As I said, we may be talking about no one. This is an exchange of absurdity. It is nothing. It is a joke exchange. We were laughing about it. I mean, we are not talking about anyone in particular that I can recall. And if we were talking about someone in particular, we were certainly talking about them in a joking way. The chances are that is the words ugly fat whore came up and all these kinds of references. I would say that person would probably be the very opposite of what we are saying. They are probably the nicest person in the world and skinny and all that. But the humor comes out of saying, what an ugly, ugly thing. Not an ugly thing, an ugly fat whore. All the words we have decided a Southern gentleman would not use to describe a woman. You are using, I am not talking with a woman. Does that make it better? This is like as random and as ignorant a spew of verbiage that is based on nothing. You can talk to me about this for the next 3 days if you like. I cannot tell you what it is about, but I can tell you it is a joke. You cannot tell anybody in this court what the joke is for the simple reason that it is not a joke. You are talking with whoever you are texting. Vanessa. You have said it is Vanessa. Call the number. You're talking about a woman who is, in your words, a slut. In her words, a slut. In your words, a whore. And you are talking about bringing cash for the idiot cow. You call her and then you say, I will smack the ugly count around before I let her in. Don't worry. Is that a word that you think is acceptable from a Southern gentleman's book of conduct? I had a feeling that you were going to ask me that question, and I'm going to say that no, I do not believe that any of those words are in the Southern Gentleman's Book of Conduct. But I also know that when you are on a private text exchange with someone, you could be talking about something very serious. You can be talking about something very funny. You can be talking about something that makes no sense to anyone, and that is life. So we have two episodes here where you are referring to sex workers, one with Mr. Duders and one with Marino. You say Vanessa Paradis. You can refer to her as Marino if you like. What is so funny about all these jokes about you going to sex workers? The text is not about sex workers. You say that. You say they are both a joke, but you have not, if you don't mind me saying, explained the joke. I mean, I do not think, my lord, I can take this any further. I'm going to move on now to another subject unless you have more explanations for us. The judge, well, I think you have given Mr. Depp the opportunity. Exactly, exactly. Can I, as the last topic of the afternoon, just talk about the marijuana, cannabis, whatever you want to call it? I think you have smoked a lot of cannabis in your life and smoked a lot of cannabis over the time that you were in a relationship with Ms. Heard. I smoked a lot of marijuana or cannabis when I was in a relationship with Ms. Heard. Yes. And as far as you are concerned, this was not a drug that you should abstain from. It did not count. Well, marijuana I found very helpful with regard to anxiety, sleep, a sense of well being, calmness. There are medicinal qualities to cannabis, all the way from the oil to THC. I think of cannabis not as a recreational drug. I do not think, as I said in the other text, I do not think of drugs as recreational. I think of them as self medication. So, cannabis for me is something that works. It does not work for everyone. I would not say that everyone should go there, but it works for me. And if it works for me, it is something that will make it a lot easier for me to, if I do feel that I'm feeling bad in my head or just not feeling great, I would much rather smoke marijuana then or ingest marijuana in whatever form than to guzzle from a bottle of whiskey or something. Right. Have you ever been advised in any of your detox experiences of the connections between THC and psychosis, the abuse of cannabis and psychosis? Has that been something that a doctor has addressed you on at all? No, ma'am. Never. And as far as you are concerned, cannabis is good for you. Yes? I would say that it is a lot better for you than alcohol. And is that why you encouraged your daughter to take weed? Can you repeat that again? Is that why you encouraged your daughter to use weed? I never encouraged my daughter to use marijuana. Could you go to page 5 of the text schedule in file 6, please? File 6, which number? It is page 5 at the bottom. Are you on the big text schedule? Yes, yes. I think it is still volume 6, is it not? Says the judge. Yes, 2 from the bottom. Do you see? Yes. You to your daughter. Hi, babes. Just checking in to check on your experience last night. Positive, IZO, kiss, 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 daddy, end quote. That is from you to your daughter. Would you agree? Yes. And she writes back to you saying, quote unquote, love it. Yes. Over the page, you say, good girl, quote, good girl. I am happy for you, my angel, end quote. Then she sends a text to you saying, quote, I love weed, end quote. You say, quote, don't be loving it too much just yet, precious. Not an all the time thing. Where were you and who were you with has had a lot to do with the nice effects. Where you were and who you were with, not where were you. Sorry. You said it perfectly, if I may say so, Mr. Depp. Can you now? I just said it perfectly because you said it wrong. You said it perfectly and I got it wrong. I was just. No, no, you were absolutely right. I think the words are important. They are very important. And then you say, quote, you're the best. I love you. So I'm so proud of you for being so responsible about all of this. You are the bestest ever. I love you so, end quote. Then you sign yourself, quote unquote, daddy. She says, quote, thanks, daddy. I appreciate you guys being so cool about it so much. I love you, daddy, end quote. Yes. These are the emails between yourself and your daughter. Yes. Is that a joke or are you talking about weed? No, that is absolutely. That is what it says in your packet. That is a proper exchange between my daughter and myself. Yes? Yes. Your daughter was born on May 27th, 1999? Yes. And I hope you remembered that she was 13? Yes, 13. I guess she was. Yes. So when I asked you whether you were encouraging your daughter to smoke weed, you appeared to take umbrage at that, Mr. Depp. But that is exactly what you were talking about there. Are you not? You are encouraging her. You want to find out about her experience. You tell her it is important who she is with. You are teaching her about smoking cannabis when she's only 13 years old. Yes. So the answer to my question earlier, did you involve yourself with your daughter smoking weed? Did I want you used another word? So technically I used the wrong word. I'm asking what word you used. Mr. Sherborne interrupts. My lord, with respect, Ms. Was said involved, encouraged. She has used 3 different words, to be honest. Ms. Was responds, okay, can I ask one more time and then I will take the answer? Choose your word first, as you want to give it. Did you involve yourself? Did you involve yourself in your daughter smoking cannabis? Yes. At the age of 13? Yes. My lord, I am moving to another topic now. I would like to clarify. My daughter was 13 years old. As we all know, at 11, 12, 13 years old, when you go to high school parties, you are approached by people who will want to give you drink because they're drinking at 12, 13. They're doing cocaine at 12, 13. They're smoking marijuana at 12, 13. They're doing ecstasy. They're doing many, many drugs. My daughter was at a party and someone passed a joint to her. She was just 12. She said, I did not know what to do. I did not know what to do. I said, listen, sweetheart, if you are at a party and someone hands you a joint, take the joint from that person and pass it on to the next person. Please do not experiment with drugs with people you do not know. With a joint that someone hands you and you do not know if it is laced with PCP, you do not know if it is laced with fentanyl, you do not know what it is. Please, please, when you are really at the moment in your life, or you really feel like they are passing me the joint and I want to try it, I really want to try it, please do me the honor of coming to me when you are ready, when you really feel you are ready, because I do not want your first experience in this world to be with people you do not know, taking things you do not know that you cannot trust. So it is a safety issue. It is a father worried about his daughter in these kinds of situations. When she came to me and said, I am ready, I spoke with her mother and I said, she says she is ready. And Vanessa spoke with her. I know that the most important thing for a child, if they're going to do something like that, I would rather have them be honest with me and have me be honest with them so that she does not go out there and do these things and hide them from me. I want her to trust me. So if my daughter says she is ready, she was ready. I wanted to make sure that the set and the setting were perfection. So we put on family television. You fill the refrigerator with ice cream and you fill the freezer, and you make a situation where the experience will hopefully be as pleasant as possible. Because the first thing you do not want is you do not want your 13-year-old going into some sort of paranoid tailspin. I knew that the marijuana that I had myself, that I had smoked myself, is trustworthy. It is of good quality, and I was determined to not have her try any drugs out there in the world because it is too dangerous. If that is wrong in your eyes, I appreciate what you think, but I was raising my daughter, and I was being a responsible parent as far as I am concerned. Thank you very much. You have said that you did not want her going into a paranoid tailspin as a result of ingesting marijuana. Yes, that can happen to some people. And I asked you about that earlier, but thank you very much. That has answered that question. Oh, good. Thank you. Right. Now, is that a judge, excuse me, interrupts. Right. Now, is that a convenient point? It is to stop. Okay, Ms. Was, we are at an early stage in this trial, but I have mentioned when Mr. Sherborne told me that I had only a draft trial timetable, excuse me, that I would be keeping an eye on how we are getting on. Yes. We will have tomorrow and the next day to conclude your cross-examination. If you need longer than that, then you will need to justify it. Oh, I will. It is going very slowly at the moment without wishing to criticize Mr. Depp in any way because he wants to give his answers at length. It may be that I am slightly more brusque with him tomorrow. I'm not going to ever prevent him from giving an answer that is relevant to the question, but we have had a bit of a deviation from the points this afternoon and this morning. I entirely accept my Lord's point that this timetable has got to be kept on the rails, and I will certainly do my best to do that. And the judge responds, all right. Now, I was passed a message that I think at one point in your questioning to Mr. Depp, you read out an email address that may still be live, and I'm simply going to request that there be no reporting of that. Yes. Mr. Sherborne, I see you have risen. I do not think that since it has been said in open court, I can go beyond that, but I do make that request. Mr. Sherborne, my lord, I'm very grateful. That is what I was rising for. All I was going to add to what my lord said is that I think there are other references in some of the text messages and so on to live numbers and email addresses. Perhaps, if that is of concern, you could communicate with Ms. Was about those, which those are, so that she takes care not to read those in the future. Of course, I understand, my lord, and I will do so. Thank you. All right. Now, Mr. Sherborne, before you sit down, you did say you wanted to be able to talk to Mr. Depp about the 6th and 7th witness statements of Ms. Heard. My lord, yes. At the beginning of the trial, I recognized that the defendants would have to consent to that if they wanted to rely on those witness statements. My lord, yes. Since there had not been the opportunity to do so far, so what I'm proposing to say to Mr. Depp is that he may do so with you and a representative of Schillings, but you, of course, will need to be careful that the conversation does not trespass beyond the 6th and 7th witness statements of Ms. Heard. My lord, yes, of course, I understand. And Mr. Depp, I do not know if you remember this, but there was a conversation earlier this morning in which I gave the defendants the right to refer to Ms. Heard's 6th witness statements and her 7th witness statement. Yes, sir. And I did so recognizing that you and your lawyers have not had the opportunity to discuss those. I have said previously that you're not allowed to talk to anybody about your evidence. I'm going to make a qualification that you may talk to Mr. Sherborne and one of the representatives from Schillings about the 6th and 7th witness statements of Ms. Heard, but only those topics. Do you understand, Mr. Depp? Yes, I do, my lord. Thank you very much. All right, then. Is there anything else anybody wants to raise this evening? My lord, no. Thank you, says Mr. Sherborne. Now we have a new character, Mr. Wolanski. My lord, can I raise a matter? Earlier on, you mentioned the cross examinations of blank in correspondence. We're going to make an appearance, we're going to make an application to your lordship for an order permitting us to cross examine Mr. Cadenet. What we propose to do with your lordship's leave is to put in a note. It will be a short note this evening. It will be done by 6 p.m. and it will be explaining why we say it is in order for your lordship should make a jurisdictional basis for it. Obviously, the claimant needs an opportunity to see the application and to respond to it. It is not particularly urgent because, of course, it will be some time before Mr. Cadenet has to attend court to be cross-examined, and that is going to happen. But nonetheless, it is something that we would be asking your lordship to rule on as soon as your lordship has an opportunity to do so. What we propose to do, therefore, is to give them note by 6 p.m. this evening. And the judge concludes with, I will deal with that as and when I've had a chance to see it. Good? Nothing else? Right. Then, 10 o'clock tomorrow. Court is adjourned. Excuse me. Whew, that concludes day one. Hey, Mandu. I don't know if you're still here, buddy, but thank you for the 9 months. Sincerely. I love you, man. Whew. 2 hours. Definitely did not fly by as fast as yesterday's. My voice is definitely feeling it. I'm going to have to pace myself. Because if I continue at this rate, I'm definitely going to lose my voice in a couple of videos. I definitely don't want that. So tomorrow, what I'm probably going to do is tomorrow I'm going to do a rest day. I'm going to do a rest day for my voice. And then maybe, depending on how the schedule, my schedule is, nothing to do with you all, Friday morning or Friday afternoon, if my voice is back, we're going to continue. We're going to start with day 2. We're officially 1/16 of the way done. 1/16. So we got 2 out of 32 videos completed. Johnny Depp is going to be on the stand for another day or 2. So that's at least 2, possibly 3, possibly even 4 more videos of Johnny Depp cross-examination. It's good stuff. We get a chance to see a lot of the stuff that was inadmissible in the U.S. trial for obvious reasons. I mean, 99% of what we are going through in the U.S. would have been objectionable, either hearsay, objectionable to relevance, objectionable to many, many other different things. And I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy what the Brits allow in their courts. No offense, but I can sense the European vibe because, Europeans are very much in tune with their mental states. They're in tune with their sexuality. They're not afraid to speak their minds. They are not afraid to refer to situations. They're not afraid to assume, apparently, in open court. They're not afraid to just be blunt, like, look, I'm just going to call it how it is. And then the judge is like, well, I'm going to allow it, whatever. And in America, that would never fly. There is no innuendo in American courts. It is about facts. It is about evidence. It is about testimony. Whereas over there, they keep referring to things in binders, and these binders could have God knows what and how many pages. They're like, Johnny even refers to this as like, these are binders. They're probably this thick, and there's probably like 7 of them, and they're all sitting there, on the judge's desk and Johnny's desk and the defense's desk and the claimant's desk. You're welcome, Tiffany. um, it is mind blowing, and no wonder, there's no jury. So a judge is digesting all of this stuff, and the direct examination was literally day one morning for like 15 minutes, it felt like. And then the other 7 hours or whatever, was all cross examination. And we haven't even gotten through half of it yet, presumably. We still have morning and afternoon of day 2, at least, like I said, and possibly morning and possibly even afternoon of day 3. So we are going to be like 6 potentially out of 32 videos of just Johnny Depp's cross examination by the defense. And that is a lot. But anyway, I think we got through a lot today. I'm very pleased. I'm very, very pleased. So thank you all for joining. I hope you all had fun. I hope you all sometimes I get lost. I don't know about you all, but I get lost in the text. I really do. It's like, as I'm reading, I forget that I'm reading. I feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm actually physically in the courtroom. Like I see it happening, and I try to picture their faces as it goes on. So yeah, but I will tell you, it definitely does do a number on your voice. Most definitely. My vocal cords are already feeling a bit rough, and I've been sipping on this yerba mate here, which doesn't that look like piss? I swear to God, that just straight up looks like piss water. Like I'm drinking urine. I swear to God, it's so, but it's delicious. It's the most delicious sugary urine you'll ever taste. I'm surprised nobody said this in the comments, but yeah. Well, I was there for real last year, but that doesn't count. This is the UK, so. But anyway, we're gonna end right here. Thank you all for coming. No Johnny Depp tomorrow, but more than likely we're gonna continue day 2 morning on Friday, and then maybe even conclude day 2 on Saturday or Sunday, depending on how my voice is feeling. But yeah. We're going to get to that, Allie. We're going to get to that. She says the UK trial was a joke. Judge Nicol took everything at face value, including the claim that Turd donated the $7 million. Okay, so that was my initial intention from one Adam, but he says maybe you can get some friends to come and split up the statements. You could be like we basically play roles, but I think it gets a little too complicated. It will slow the pace down. It might be more entertaining for you all, but my goal at the end of the day is to make this as concise. I'm almost trying to turn this into an like an audio book, if you will, in a way, so that somebody in the future wants to be like, look, I want to spend 70 hours listening to this trial, which is probably approximately how long it's going to turn out to be when all is said and done. Because look, 4 hours of day 1. No, it's going to be less than that. It might be 50. It might be like 50 hours, actually. I take it back. It'll be about 50 hours worth of audio. And if somebody wants to like just listen to it, they have one voice just changing itself. And I'm moving at a very fast pace. If there were 2 people here, it would we would have to constantly shift, and that's going to shave off. Excuse me, not shave, but like add more time to it. So I think I think this is I like this style better. I know it's more exhausting on me and more draining on me, but you know what? I'm a big boy. I can deal with it. I chose this. No one forced me into this. I chose this undertaking because I want it memorialized. And what better person to do it other than me? So um, it is what it is. And you're welcome, Becca's Designs. Thank you for joining. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. And yeah, all right. I will see you all probably Friday and this weekend for sure. Bye, everybody.